Today on Apocalypse Auto, we're reviving my 4x4 1985 AMC Eagle wagon and bringing it back to life. Alright, so those of you who have been watching Apocalypse Auto for a while, you might recognize this AMC Eagle. And that's because the first video that we ever released was about this, but it was only 5 minutes long and it was pretty terrible. So for those of you who haven't seen that old video, let me break it down for you. Alright, so we got these 3 AMC Eagles for 350 bucks. We picked these Eagles up from a farmer's field down in Darby, Montana, and none of them had moved in over 6 years. So we got the 3 of them for 350 bucks, drug them back to our shop and kind of stole all the parts we needed off of them. And then the other 2 went to the junkyard. One of them got hit with the bus first and then taken to the junkyard. So we used all the parts we'd stolen off the other 2 Eagles to get this thing running well enough that instead of fixing the incredibly bad oil leak this thing had, I decided it was time to paint it. So after tearing all the plastic fender flares off this thing, we put down some bed liner on the rocker panels and above the fenders, and then gave it a nice white base coat so that I could put down this branch camo design that I had come up with after seeing the shadow of a tree on the side of my car. And then I decided to sneak in this little spider web and spider amongst all the branches. And the next thing after getting the paint job done, we needed to build this thing a new front bumper, because the people that I had bought it from said that it had been in a wreck, it had a lot of front end damage and no front bumper. And so, because all these old AMC Eagles have a skid plate right underneath the front bumper to protect the engine, I pulled one of the skid plates off one of the other Eagles and just did a mirror image thing and put it right on the front of it, and then built a little bit of a tube frame and then filled it in with some 1/4 inch perforated steel. So after cutting our perforated steel to shape, Shane fired up the welder and got to work. So after Shane got done welding up the bumper all nice and strong, it was time to take this thing out for a test run. But first, we had to figure out why the 4-wheel drive wasn't working on the Eagle, and it turned out it's because this thing is vacuum operated and all the mess of hoses that were going from the carburetor down to the transfer case were missing. So we installed this vacuum pump that will replace all that. And now it's switch operated. So when you flip this switch and the skull's eyes light up and you hear the vacuum pump turn on, that's when you know the Eagle's in 4-wheel drive. So after getting this Eagle that sat in a farmer's field for 6 years finally running, getting a new bumper on it, and making the four-wheel drive work, the only thing that we were missing was some new tires. And here are the tires that were on the Eagle. But I decided to go out in the snow and test out the four-wheel drive anyway. I was having a lot of fun, and I started going up this hill when I made it to a certain point where my bald tires stopped gripping and I started sliding backwards off of the road and into a ditch. And so after that whole ordeal, this Eagle went back to my place and just sat in my driveway. You can even see it in the back of some of my other videos when I'm working on the Blazer. But now, it's time to revive this thing and get it hopping. So when I finally got this thing started, it was running really rough, it didn't sound very happy, and it was shooting a lot of stuff out of the exhaust. So what's the best way to clean out your old crusty car after it's been sitting for a while? Seafoam. So after slowly pouring the seafoam down the carburetor, you'll notice that your exhaust is going to start getting all black and sooty, but that's just the seafoam cleaning all the extra carbon out of your engine. And if you've never used seafoam before, go down into the link in the description and watch the full video on how we cleaned out this thing's engine. Oh, man. So after letting this thing smoke out for a little while, it was time to take it for a drive. But first, I had to steal one of the tires off of my Pontiac because the Eagle had a flat. This thing out onto the road, this thing was running great. I got it up to about 65 miles an hour, which I'm positive is the fastest this Eagle has gone in about 6 years. But these things aren't meant to be highway cruisers, they're four-wheel drive, and so therefore I had to take it off-road. So after we got this Eagle running like a champ, it wasn't so much the going I was worried about, it was the fact that I couldn't stop. So after replacing the brakes on this thing, we were heading over to Shane's shop because he said that he had a surprise for me.
Saw the brake fluid.
Oh wow.
The reservoir was full when we started. And we pressed the caliper, the piston in.
Nice.
Oh, that's gotta go somewhere.
There's like spider webs inside of it. So after getting the brakes done on this thing, we headed over to Shane's shop and he revealed what the surprise was. Just trying to show that the skid plates are just a mirror image of each other. After discovering that my four-wheel drive does indeed work, we also found out that my rear tires were incredibly unbalanced.
Whoa! 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 That is not right.
I saw a little wobble when he was driving.
That's normal, right?
No.
So after seeing how badly unbalanced my tires were, Shane revealed what the surprise was: a new used set of American racing tires for the Eagle. They're quite a bit larger than the stock rims that came on this Eagle, so we're going to have to do a little bit of fender modifications to make sure they don't rub.
You want to get that out of here so that I'm not throwing sparks on it?
So after Shane moved one of his work vehicles, Wayne got ready to throw some sparks. So while Wayne was mutilating my back fenders, Shane took a hammer to the front ones and gave them a good pounding. So after adding the new tires to the Eagle and modifying the fenders, this thing was looking so off-road ready that the next day we decided to go out and have a friendly little competition. I'm not the only one in the group with a cheap 4x4, so let me introduce to you our challengers. So first up is Wayne's 1986 Subaru GL that he got for $700. That has a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder that makes a whopping 84 horsepower. And the next competitor who's going to try to step up and take the Eagle down is Shane's 1989 Dodge D50 Power Ram, and he got this thing for $300. That actually has a 2.4 liter Mitsubishi made motor that makes 116 horsepower. That's 4 more horsepower than the 4.2 liter inline 6 that's in the Eagle, because it only has 112 horsepower. It definitely gets the worst gas mileage out of these 3 vehicles. So we got 2 Japanese made 4-cylinders versus 1 American made inline 6. So the first obstacle we found was this little articulative hill climb that was really going to test out the suspension on these 3 vehicles. So after watching Wayne and Shane both easily roll up this thing, I realized that the Eagle was the only one out of the 3 that didn't have a low range transfer case. So I was gonna have to back up and get a little bit more speed at it. Yeah! That was awesome! So the next obstacle we found was this incredibly steep hill climb that we knew none of the vehicles would be able to make, but we decided to see which vehicle could make it the highest on the hill.
Yeah, tranny slipping pretty bad.
Oh yeah.
Didn't even spin a wheel.
That was very unimpressive.
Yeah, that didn't make it very far.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Just mash it to the floor.
So after I gave it a try on the Eagle, up next was Shane in the Power Wagon.
Oh no, the Eagle's rolling away.
I turned it off and it started rolling away. No big loss. Alright Wayne, you got a pretty tough horse to beat. I don't know if you can beat the Mighty Max. Run Wayne, run! That's pretty high. So after Shane's Dodge kicked the Eagle's butt, it was time to give the Subaru a turn. Oh, no way! The Subaru! Wow! How does it feel, Wayne, to win
Highest on the hill.
highest on the hill?
Well, it was.
See the blue dot? That's actually, he breached the Bud Light can.
Wow.
Dodging the creek. Subaru-ing the creek. This is gonna be a little deep actually. I think I might roll my window up. Couldn't be that deep.
So after everyone made it through the creek crossing, we found a new obstacle that was gonna separate the boys from the men. This hill was pretty steep, and it had a bunch of whoop-de-doos that were gonna give these cheap 4x4s a run for their money.
All right, we're going up. I hope.
So after Wayne walked right up this thing no problem in the Subaru, it was Shane's turn in his little $300 Dodge. So after both Wayne and Shane made it up this hill with absolutely no problem, I figured the Eagle was a shoo-in. So after my first attempt was a failure, I figured I just needed to back up and get more of a run at it.
Articulation. It smells like a lawnmower. Weird.
That's one way out of the trees.
So after my second run was a no-go, I figured I would just get really far back and get enough speed to fly up this hill.
Oh, look at that! Oh! I give up! No mas. No mas.
It just can't do it.
So at this point, the Eagle has lost both challenges to the Subaru and to the Dodge.
Oh, this is way too much fun!
And you're not even doing it well.
Oh my god! Up and up.
Dude, this thing is hot! Dude, I thought I was gonna break something that last run. I hit it so hard.
Wham, wham.
Yeah! Dude, the fucking Eagle is awesome. Except it sucks at everything.
More power.
Right?
Power.
More power! So as the Eagle has failed to beat Wayne or Shane at anything, I was determined to find something that the Eagle could do better. So we headed further up the road to try to find some new obstacles.
That was a good one.
On the pit hole. Hey, it's blowing bubbles. Drink the bowl.
So after running up and down this dirt road and going through this big puddle, Wayne had managed to puncture his tire, but luckily he had brought a spare. So while Wayne was busy changing his tire, me and Shane decided to try to catch some air.
Well, just aim for the puddle, basically. Hope we don't hit a tree.
It was pretty good. Your topper sounds like it's gonna fall. It's like.
Here you go.
So after watching how much air Shane didn't get in the Dodge, I figured this was my chance to beat him in the Eagle. So I backed way down this road so I could get a running start at it. So even though the Eagle got a bigger head start at the jump, it still couldn't catch any air. So after Wayne was done changing his tire, we moved on to the next event.
Did I get any air?
Not at all.
Not even close.
No. It just made more noise than anything.
Oh, dude, it bounced so hard. Anybody want some donuts? Only got one. Boo-boo.
No, the Eagle didn't so much fly as it bounced. So the next event we were gonna do was a crawl race to see which one of these vehicles has the lowest range gear set.
Ready to get out.
I gotta wash my windshield real quick. That'll help me go slower.
Down.
So we're gonna get out?
And you gotta steer through the window, Wayne. All right. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so after having to jump through the window of the Eagle to put this thing in neutral to get it to stop, needless to say, I had lost this one too. But there was one more race that I could think of that I was hoping the Eagle might win because it had the biggest engine out of these 3 vehicles.
That was so bad.
Alright, drag race. We'll go for the world's shortest drag race. After running the first drag race and losing to Shane in the Dodge, somehow the Eagle had beat Wayne's Subaru, so we had to line back up and figure out what had happened.
Where'd Wayne go? I beat him somehow.
What happened, Wayne? Did you miss shift?
I had the e-brake up. I was counting down. And then I looked down and I was like, the e-brake is on. So I dropped the e-brake and then I was able to take off.
Said you did that with your e-brake on?
So when the Eagle finally won something, we found out it was a fluke. And so me and Wayne lined up again to see once and for all who truly had the fastest station wagon.
All right, your e-brake off?
E-brake's off.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, Lee, you gave up.
So you'd think I would be depressed after spending all day getting whooped up on by a $700 Subaru and a $300 Dodge, but I can't be sad because we pulled this AMC Eagle out of a farmer's field. It probably would have never driven again if we hadn't rescued it. And I know that the 4.2 liter inline 6 that's in this AMC Eagle is the granddaddy to the 4.0 that they put in almost every single Jeep until 2007. So what I really want to do is get my hands on an old Jeep Cherokee driveline and soup this AMC Eagle up. Get it some better 4-wheel drive and a low-range transfer case. And maybe you'll see that someday in a future episode of Apocalypse Auto. And if you like what we're trying to do on this channel and you want to help us make some more Apocalypse Auto videos, consider going over to our Patreon page, because everyone who donates $1 gets an Apocalypse Auto sticker. And from all of us here at Apocalypse Auto, thank you so much for watching.
Good luck. Yeah! I'm losing brake pressure. I can move but can't stop. He can't move but stops perfectly fine. Woo! We need to tie these cars together. Because I can move fine, but you can't move, and I can't stop, but you can stop perfectly fine. Oh man, bashed into that thing.
I might have bent my fender a little. The fronts are good, I think. Oh no, they bent in a tiny bit too.
Yep. Oh, that one touched hard.
Well, now we know how far we need to cut.
Yep.